Hey there, it's Melissa Brunetti, and welcome to the Mind Your Own Karma podcast.
Hey there, Karma Crew. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Mind Your Own Karma, the Adoption Chronicles. Today, I have a very interesting guest. Paul FISCUS is on the show today, and he is a birth father whose daughter got adopted right out from under him. Let me tell you a little bit about Paul. Paul Allen FISCUS III is a devoted father who brings a unique perspective to the discussion on adoption, parental rights, and judicial corruption, being the first parent in Kansas history to contest a private adoption to this extent. His unwavering determination and in-depth understanding of the legal intricacies surrounding adoption highlights the hurdles that natural fathers encounter when their infant child is placed for adoption without their knowledge. His insights and commitment to creating change in the treatment of natural fathers makes him an invaluable voice in the ongoing dialogue regarding fathers' constitutional rights and parental equal rights in the adoption process. Here is my interview with Paul FISCUS. We are welcoming Paul FISCUS to the show today. Hi, Paul.
Hi.
So this is such an important topic, and I just can't really wrap my head around what happened here. So let's just jump right into your story because there's a lot to cover. Let's start by talking about what was your relationship with the birth mother and how did you meet her?
She was actually I had a second job delivering pizza for a Pizza Hut, and she was the store manager.
Okay.
And yeah,
Things happened.
things happen, and then we only dated for maybe 2 months.
Okay. And
And
then she told you that she was pregnant, or how did that unfold?
well, so we dated for about a month, and then she left me to go be with her ex again, which okay. Then she came back, and then during the week of conception, she slept with three different dudes.
Oh, wow.
And she told me, well, a coworker said she might be pregnant, but I was, I like, well, I need to hear it from her. But yeah, she told me as soon as on Valentine's Day of 2018 is when we had the first official conversation. Um, by that point, I mean, we were done. So going forward from there, we were just going to be friends, co-parents, and that's how it was. But she has an unchecked mental illness
Mm.
that
Did she tell you about the other two guys, or how'd you find out about
she told me
that?
about one of them fairly, like, pretty much immediately. But the third gentleman I didn't even know about until about July,
Oh,
and
wow.
then I didn't even know who he was until the trial. So,
Oh, my goodness. So when she told you she was pregnant, what was going through your mind?
well, I always wanted a child, so happiness, despite all the, like like I said, we only dated a few months, so there wasn't like a lot of hurt feelings or anything.
Mm.
There was some unresolved, but the baby took precedent over that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I was excited. I tried. It was it's a weird situation because she lived with her boyfriend for most of the pregnancy,
Okay.
and my rights were terminated for not providing her support when she lived with her boyfriend without any bills or rent, having to do anything. So
Wow.
I'm supposed to just give her a bunch of money
Well,
for,
and the other thing is you didn't even know if you were the father yet.
yeah.
So why were
But
I mean,
the way the law is, though, if you want your rights, you have to act like you're the father, and
mm,
that's what I mean. I did that before I even knew about the law. I didn't know I was going to have to know about any of that stuff.
yeah.
So I
Yeah. You're
naturally
just,
took. It was going to be my kid no matter what at that point.
yeah.
That's how I felt. But
So what was your understanding during the pregnancy about what was going to happen when your baby was born?
well, the whole time we had decided that we were going to, like I said, we were going to co-parent. So we were just going to be friends, and that's how we were going. Um, so she was pregnant from January 5th is when she got pregnant. She gave the due date was September 26th, but she intentionally induced a week early to make me miss it. Because on July 30th, in between, she just suddenly ghosted me.
Mm.
And what happened was, and this is where the mental illness thing comes into play. I bought the house I'm in for my child. And as soon as I did that, this irrational envy just blossomed.
Hmm.
And she would rather sell my child than me be a better parent. I don't understand it. So
So the whole time that she was pregnant, you never got an inkling that she wasn't going to keep the baby, and you weren't.
no. And
There
even when
was
she
nothing.
ghosted me, I'm like, well, she just needs some time. Like I didn't know what was going on, but I'm like, I'm still texting her. I'm like, hey, I'm here. The thing is, most of our communication was through text.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a power move for her. Like she, if it was, if it made her look good, I was the father. If it made her look good, I was not the father. And
Mm.
she'd hold it over my head, and and it was unnecessary. I never understood what was going on. I'm like, why are you
Yeah.
even so? And I still don't know for sure. I mean, this whole, the irrational envy through her by she's bipolar, and I've done a lot of research on that, and that's where I came up with that because I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but they do have irrationality. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll everything she said at trial was not true. Like I was insane. And I'm like, really? Um, it
So,
made. Go ahead. Sorry.
so how'd you find out your daughter was born?
The mother's aunt texted me, and actually, most of her family's been on my side this whole time, which is weird. It's been 5 years now. I've been fighting this for 5 years.
Oh my gosh. So what did you do when you found out?
Well, it's weird. I was talking to her aunt in person at the very same time the adoption attorney contacted me. And the first thing in my mouth is, I do not consent. I want to raise my child.
Was that like a shock that you got that phone call?
It was, well, here's another thing. I had just gotten into a bad wreck like a week before. Like I was
Oh,
going to work and somebody just nailed me. It was so bad that I had a concussion.
oh wow.
So I don't remember meeting my attorney.
Oh my
So
gosh.
all this was happening while I'm dealing with this concussion. Um, yeah, it was a shock. I mean, I was like, I don't understand. But I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, well, I did everything I was supposed to do. So this is gonna be,
Yeah, no
but
problem, right?
as it kept going, I'm like, what, why? And then what?
Yeah.
And now here I'm 5 years and I'm creating ways to fight for her now, which is odd, but they just like completely violated our rights, like all the way up to the Supreme Court.
That's
It's
crazy.
yeah.
When did you find out that you were the father? How long down the road?
Um, so she was born on September 19th. It wasn't until the beginning of November that we got I had the DNA results. And
Wow.
that's when I found out. Like, so the whole month of October, it was like this pull and drag. Like they kept trying to talk me out of. I'm like, no, that's my child.
I
But
still want
yeah,
her. I still want
yeah,
her. So they ended up, instead of waiting until all this mess got settled and like putting her in foster care, they placed her with a family. Is that
yeah.
correct?
Like every unethical thing that could happen pretty much happened. Um, she induced by a week early so that they could say that I did not file a paternity order or anything like that. So I missed the birth. My daughter was with this couple 2 days after she was born,
Wow.
and I didn't know she was born until October 11th.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
like for almost 3 weeks, I didn't know she was born.
That's crazy. Did you get to, at some point, get to spend any time with her?
Oh yeah, I altogether it was only 56 hours. But I kept fighting. At first it was 2 hours a week with a supervisor.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I don't. Why is there a supervisor here?
Yeah.
The answer, what the reason was, because based upon the situation. Like, what does that mean?
Right.
And the supervisors completely they would write reports and make it look like I was an idiot, like lie about me. Like it's just a gigantic. It's a machine, and
Yeah.
it's.
I'm trying to figure out who's making money here because there's got why were they fighting so hard?
Somehow the judges make money, and I have yet to figure that out. I know that through foster care, there's a way that the government pays the state,
Yes.
but for private, I can't find out. I don't, obviously they do, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they fought me so. I mean, this is just, it's just one child.
Yeah. It's got to be money somewhere. I'm just, you know, scratching my head trying to figure out, like you
It's
said,
the,
why are they fighting so hard when there's really no evidence to.
I mean, everything was in my favor, like every single thing. So I know that private adoptions have decreased over the last 10, 15 years,
Mm,
but it's no excuse. Like this is the product of greed is what this is.
yeah.
And it's heartless. I mean, every single person that's, excuse me, screwed me is a parent themselves. So I'm
Hmm.
like, what,
Yeah.
how can you be that cruel to another parent?
And then when you did see your daughter, did you see the adoptive parents? Did they drop her off
Yeah.
to you?
It was always in a neutral, like either at a library or a hotel room. I did eventually get to where I had alone time with my child. I, I filed a motion to have her stay the night at my house. Instead, I had to drive 432 miles every weekend to spend
Mm.
4 hours with her Saturday, 4 hours with her Sunday in a
Oh,
hotel room. So
so you never did get to have her overnight.
never.
Wow.
I didn't understand it, but obviously it was already just
How was that with the adoptive parents? I mean,
well, this situation is they're just as immoral as the judges. I mean, they lied and said I left her in the room by herself and went outside and smoked a cigarette. I'm like,
they sat there and watched you.
yeah, they were in the lobby waiting for me.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
this is not your child. Like, it's so inappropriate. And they also said that the time I got to meet my child, they said I couldn't do this every day. As I'm contesting the adoption,
Right.
they're saying I said I could not do this every day.
Wow. So, what are some examples of the unethical actions that have occurred?
Well, um,
I know there's a list, right?
there's a list. She was paid $3,000 for reasonable living expenses when, again, she lived with her boyfriend, didn't have any living expenses. Um, when they filed the motion for adoption, it was completely had no factual basis. It was all the father is expected, or the fathers, because there's
Wow.
three of us.
Yeah.
Well, they only mentioned two, but there was three of us. They said they are expected to abandon the child. They're expected to not be fit. That's against the law.
Yeah.
And then when I filed a motion for a more definite statement, they missed the deadline to submit an amended motion. And the judge just said, "Oh, we'll give him 14 more days." On one of the information that she filled out, one page says that I'm Indian but not enrolled, and then the very next page says I have no Indian whatsoever. And they just filed both papers like we wouldn't see that.
So what was happening in court then? What was their reasoning behind not granting you giving her back to you?
I mean, we had to go to trial. I kept asking my attorney, like, why? Why? So like they didn't even bother. They just kept going. Like they didn't even. There was no. And the law is you're supposed to explain why. Any discretionary decision by a judge is supposed to be explained. I mean, this judge, like almost every single procedural law he's supposed to follow, he didn't. Um, and when he did when we did the trial, which happened in March, so this all started in like October.
Mhm.
So I got to see her every week up until March 8th. After 3 days, the the trial ruling, he just twisted everything. Like he lied and said that she was, there was times that she had no residence and was couch surfing. They twisted. He said that I never provided any emotional support when I submitted 300 or 3,500 pages worth of text messages between us that has
Yeah.
like 240 at least direct instances of where I'm showing support. He said I was extremely sarcastic. Like, I don't know how about you, but I don't know how I could tell between two strangers
Right.
if they're being sarcastic in text.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh
and
my God.
so I'm still fighting it. I've filed a motion for relief to the trial court, and he's denied it for timely. It's out of time. It's the one motion that does not have a time limit. So I'm about to
So,
file another one.
yeah. I mean, I don't, yeah, it just, I feel like, were these relatives of the judge or something? I'm just still trying to
That's
figure out what
that's
is
how I
his
know.
motive? Like, I
I,
don't know. There's like, I
there,
don't get it.
that they get paid somehow. They make some, like when like it was
Something.
foster, they make like, I think it's like 60,000 a child. I don't know if they're, see, I theorize that maybe they're submitting this as a foster. I don't know, but if that's the case, it makes $60,000.
Yeah.
But
What's your lawyer saying?
she she didn't understand what was going on. That's the thing, is no one, fathers hardly ever contest.
Yeah.
It's usually a
Yeah.
situation where the father's not around in the first place.
Right.
But my situation is, in how the law is written, I should have my kid. I should
Yeah.
have had her this whole time. I
Yep.
still talk to her. I still talk to my lawyer. Like, we're friends. I've been pro se since 2020, which means I do it myself, because
Mm,
at this point I've spent 40, not 40, but 4,000 hours diligently researching. I mean, I probably know more about it than most attorneys.
I know. Yeah.
And
It's
it's,
all on your website. I was just like, whoa.
and there's, that thing is the website. There's so much more to put on there. I'm like,
I'm
it's
sure.
overwhelming almost on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other legal steps that you're able to take?
Well, with the motion for relief from avoid judgment, um, there's kind of a loophole. I can file that as many times as I want because it's still avoid judgment. Meaning there, it can be. So I'm about to file another one. Um, I know that they're not gonna, they're just gonna mess with me some more. But at this point, that's the only thing I can do.
Yeah. They're probably just thinking at some point you're going to stop trying, you know? And that's the other thing. It's like down the road at some point, your daughter might get curious when she becomes an adult.
Oh,
And no matter what they've told her or said to her,
well,
whatever.
they've definitely lied. They're definitely going to lie
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mother's family's, if for a reason I'm not around, her aunt has sworn to me she's going to know everything,
Mm,
and it's going to destroy her. Like, all of her adolescence will be a lie.
yeah.
And I mean,
Exactly.
you're an adoptee, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, were you ever curious?
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't I don't think there's, how would you not be?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they're gonna
I know.
say they made me out to be, I have a mental illness, I'm a junkie, I'm a drug addict. So they're probably tell her that. And then she's
Mm,
gonna see the website, she's gonna see everything I've done, which I'm the first father to ever go this far in the country from like an, I mean, I don't like saying that because it feels like I'm bragging, but it's true. And I'm not bragging, but
have you
it's
had any other fathers reach out to you for advice or help?
um somewhat. I do have a dialogue with his name is Christopher Emmanuel. He's in North Carolina. He got his daughter, and he has a foundation going. The sky is the limit. He's a really good guy. Um, the the problem is, like, any father that's stopped an adoption has been either black or Hispanic.
Mm,
So I mean, I don't know if that is such a deep racism that it's like, do you get what you only got
yeah.
your kid because they're being racist? But I'm glad
Right.
you got your kid because
Yeah.
that's insane.
Well, and then during court, they were saying stuff about you, like that you were a drug addict and stuff, and you took drug tests that were clean.
Yeah, I
And
failed a drug test because he made me take a urinalysis and a hair test at the same time, and I don't have hair on my head, so it had to come off of my arm.
Mhm.
That goes back a whole year, 365 days. So
Yeah.
that showed up drugs that I, before I even met the mother.
Mm,
But of course they
mhm.
don't, they made it sound like
Yeah,
I've
they
been
just, yeah.
I before I even knew anything about adoption, I got clean well before that.
Well,
Like I
what's
was
funny is they don't test any father that is at the hospital and gets to take their baby home.
right.
You know what I mean? It's like they put the baby in, make sure you put him in the car seat and you get to drive away, and they could be living in that car. You don't know. And they could be
Yeah.
doing drugs, and they,
That's another thing.
they don't, you know.
There those kind of cases where the parents are unfit, they're called in child in
Yeah.
need of care cases.
Hmm.
Those fathers have more rights than a father like me, where the mother just backstabs him and puts the baby up for adoption.
Yeah.
So I mean, just they make money off of it somehow.
Did you ever talk to the birth mother afterwards?
Oh yeah, she's tried to sleep with me after all that.
Oh my gosh.
After she lied to me, like most of her testimony was perjury, and I've got it recorded. Like on Halloween of 2019, she was all like, "Come help me get my tire fixed." I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
I mean, I was keeping dialogue open just because I
Yeah.
was, but now she won't speak to me. I mean, she listened to the last with the one with Beth,
Hmm.
and she told me you need to keep my kids out of your crap.
Oh
Me
wow.
fighting for my kid is my crap.
Yeah. Now, doesn't she have children that she kept
Yeah, afterwards, because
afterwards?
the fathers aren't around.
So why did
So
she end up wanting to give your daughter up and keeping them?
because of me, she didn't want to share. And this is all assumption. I don't know,
Yeah.
but her family agrees with me, and everybody I talk to agrees with me. It's like, there's no other explanation. I'm not what they say I am. So
And then the father of the two kids she kept, they're not in
two different
around.
fathers. I've been told they weren't, but
Mm.
they could be. I don't know. I don't talk to her,
Yeah.
so
So,
she only emailed me because she heard about that. She listened to that podcast, and the only thing she said was, "Keep my current children out of your mouth." Like, so all that other stuff I said, no, that's all true, obviously, because you don't.
yeah. Oh my gosh. So, how has all this affected you and affected your family? And
Terribly. I mean, I have PTSD. I've had several jobs where I'm more than qualified. I went to medical school. I'll just start bawling. I'll just start nothing like weird things trigger it. Mostly
yeah.
it's a memory.
Mm,
I'm haunted. It's CPTSD. I haven't been officially diagnosed, but obviously I like to do research. So from what I can tell, it's CPTSD. Um, but yeah, it really feels like I'm haunted. Um, I I'm distracted all the time. I hardly ever sleep.
mm,
My girlfriend says I cry in my sleep. It's like it's crazy. It's also legal. There's a thing called legal abuse syndrome, which works in there somehow. I've seen two psychiatrists or therapists. The second one, I only saw her 3 times, and every time she was just like, at the end of every session, she's like, I don't know what to do for you. I'm like,
oh my gosh. That's
I mean,
so
what
frustrating.
it is like, what can they do for me though? It's
Yeah.
situational.
Right.
Like the only thing that's gonna fix it is to get my child. So
Yeah. Right.
I don't know,
How
but
about your
yeah.
family? I mean, how are they
Well, I
dealing with
mean,
it?
my mom cries because she's never met her granddaughter. My brothers, like they don't know what to say to me. Like a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, they can't believe what's happened either. So I understand it sucks, but I understand that they kind of backed off. Like hardly anybody ever talks to me, and I get it. When I talk to them, I try to avoid this at all costs. But also, they also do support me. Like like on Facebook, I post stuff
Mhm.
about this on Facebook, and yeah, I mean, it's what can you say?
Yeah. Do you have any children after her daughter?
Yes, sir. Me and my
Nice.
girlfriend are trying now, but it's
Yeah. So where is the case currently?
well, I'm like so I've gone I've the district court of appeals, Supreme Court of Kansas, Supreme Court of the US, federal court of Kansas, and I just did that all over again with the motion to dismiss, or a motion for relief. I mean, um like I said, I can file this motion for relief as many times as I need to. I mean, I don't know what they'll do. Probably
Yeah.
just start ignoring me. So, but that's where I'm at. Um, I don't know. I'm very knowledgeable when it comes to civil or constitutional rights and what I can do because of what they've done, but they don't expect me to do anything because like I technically am not. I don't have to follow like I can go get my child right now, but of course it'd have to be violent. I'm like that's not. And then
Yeah.
they'd probably just have me arrested or something. But
Right.
technically I could do that
Really?
because it's a void judgment. It doesn't have a legal effect.
Oh my gosh.
As soon as the judge lied on the stand, he lost subject matter jurisdiction. But because
Wow.
they're all in on it, which is really insane, like they're all in on it.
Yeah.
That's what blows my mind.
That makes no sense.
Makes no
Makes
sense. I
no
mean,
sense.
it really doesn't because the guy right before me, and um he was black. He got his child back. He didn't even know who the mother. He didn't even know there was a child. Like only after the mother gave birth was he informed. He goes, "Can you tell me who the mother is?"
Oh my
This
gosh.
guy got his kid back. I
Wow.
was there for the whole time, and no, they made me out to be like the worst guy ever.
Wow. So what general advice would you give someone that finds themselves in a similar situation?
Be aware, and I mean, I don't really know what if you're Caucasian. I don't I don't know what to tell you because like everything should have, like I said, everything was in my favor. The only, even the small blemishes, yeah, they were blemishes, but they were small compared to, I don't know. Like there was a guy in Missouri who I know his mom. Once he found out that this a child of his was born, and he knew about the child, but she cut him off. He kept talking to his lawyer. He kept saying, Can I see my child? Can I see my child?" This is during the preliminary to terminate his rights when he still has rights. His own attorney would say, "You unfortunately you can't right now." The judge ended up terminating his rights for neglect for not seeing his child.
Oh
Ain't that something?
my gosh.
And he just gave up.
Mm.
That's the thing with me. I can't give up. Like
Yeah,
I'm not wired that way.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
what I
I
would.
just have to believe she's gonna figure that out someday. And like you said, though, that's gonna be a hard blow for her to
I've
find
tried
all this
everything
out.
I can to
Yeah.
avoid that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just going to keep fighting it. Keep make everything spreading awareness like with the podcast. And I did talk to Jean, by the way.
Okay.
Um, I think I overwhelmed her a little bit, but she's really
Jean is
nice.
writing a book, guys. Well, she was on the show a few months ago, but yeah, she's writing a book. So
Yeah, that's why I said that.
I thought it would be a good entry in her book to tell Paul's story. So I got
Yeah,
them in touch.
yeah. Thank you
Good.
for that.
Yeah. So what can we do to help you? What can listeners do? Anything to
Well,
support you?
you just yeah, I do have a website which is freeeliza.com, which is all ran together, FREEELIZA.com. Also Facebook/freeeliza.com. Spread awareness. Really, technically, the what we can do. Well, first of all, we can revolt and overthrow the government. That's in the Declaration of Independence. But beyond anything extreme like that, legislation, like the law, the ways they're written, is unconstitutional. You're not supposed to be vague. It says I'm just supposed to provide support for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
What's the cutoff?
Right.
So just we need to raise a voice. A voice needs to be that's the thing with this situation. There's hardly any fathers. And another thing I wanted to say real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Most the general person will think I did something wrong
Yeah.
because they don't have
Otherwise, how could this happen? Yeah.
right. So they just assume that I messed up somehow.
Right.
Right. So really awareness and a voice needs to be heard. Like they can't do this to people. And we need to figure out how
Right.
to peacefully make them stop.
Are you kind of working on that kind of the legislative part of it at all? Since you're, kind of
Kinda.
stuck with, yeah.
Right now, like my main thing is I'm still fighting for Eliza. So, but that's in the back of my mind. I have I have submitted some, like the change.org. There's been a couple of petitions there. My
Good.
problem is I don't know. I don't have a lot of way of distribution. I guess I don't know how to get a hold of anybody.
Yeah.
All the news stations ignore me.
Wow. I'm
So
surprised.
I don't
I'm
know
surprised.
why.
Yeah, I just don't know, like, if there's some lawyer listening that they could help you, or,
That's what I'm
something.
trying to do. I mean, I'm so thankful for you inviting me on because that's hopefully with this is what I'm trying to get that awareness out there to see if some, not only see if somebody can help me, but also to help other fathers and
Yeah.
help because this shouldn't happen.
Right.
I
Yeah, it's
mean,
crazy. So if you could say something to your daughter, what would you want her to know?
I love her and she should be here with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna
Any,
cry.
that's okay. Any other, anything else that we didn't
I'm sure
cover
there
that's
is.
important?
I have a whole list, but now that I'm in here not doing it, I'm trying to see if there's anything like it has to happen. Well, I mean, like I said, there was a whole bunch of unethical stuff, but
Yeah.
really, besides that long list of that, there isn't anything that is desperately needs to be said. So
Okay.
just be
Well,
aware and
yeah.
you know,
Well, thank you for coming on and telling your story, because I know that you're probably not the only one out there, dealing with this. And yeah, like I said, it's just unbelievable that something like that is going on right now, and that
yeah,
there's really no recourse. It's blowing my mind. The other thing that blows my mind is that they expected you to, you know, have some support when you didn't even know you were the father, first of
right,
all, in a time you didn't even know. And you did the best you could. And
yeah.
then placing her in a home before anything was settled, you know, that,
Well, it was settled though. That's the thing. It was already settled in their mind. But
yeah,
that's another thing. Like any father is like the best advice: keep fighting. Just
yeah.
don't give up because that's what they want you to do.
Oh, yeah. They probably
You
think that,
know,
yeah, over time
I
that you will.
yeah. Well, I mean, no. So
Yeah. Well, I hope you get some kind of resolution. Somebody hears this. I don't know. I hope somebody can help you in some way. And if not, just help, like you said, with the legislation, and
that's the
just,
plan. Like if I can't get her, I'm gonna be right there in the face advocate. Hopefully,
yeah,
I'll be the no crap. I can't think of the word. The cataclysm.
yeah.
I'm gonna be
You're
the
going to be the
face of
poster
change.
child for
Right.
for
The
fathers.
catalyst. The
Yeah.
catalyst is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
good luck, Paul, and thanks for coming on the show.
thanks for having me.
When I heard Paul's story, I had to get him on the podcast. I feel like it's the only way that I can help get the word out that these things still happen. And in the middle of it all is a little girl whose family wanted her, and somehow the system failed everyone, and she ended up being adopted, which I just don't understand how that can happen when the father hasn't even been determined yet. But his rights were taken away before he even knew that he had any legally. I don't know, I'm just blown away by this story. Thanks again, Paul, for coming on the show. And at this point, I just hope whatever happens is in the best interest of your little girl. Now, to all of you listening, have you been thinking about telling your adoption story on a podcast? Get in touch with me at mindyourownkarma@gmail.com, and let's get your story on the podcast. If you are feeling stuck in your adoption journey, go to somatichealingjourneys.com, where you will learn about a new somatic therapy called Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery. It is a quick, easy, and gentle therapy that is proving to be highly effective in dealing with trauma. Again, go to somatichealingjourneys.com to find out more. As always, take what you need and leave what you don't. And always remember to mind your own karma. I'll see you next time.